Oh, what's next? Oh, wow. More declassified. So it's just like, oh, more declassified, more information. Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you. We've known this for 10 years. When are you going to arrest somebody? When are you going to indict somebody? When are you going to drain the swamp? When is it happening? Oh, tick-tock, tick-tock. Indictments are coming. I'm not playing this game another 4 years. I cannot even do it for another 4 minutes. But that's what they do is they treat you like children. They treat you like a circus monkey. And they throw this stuff out there, and they want you to start waving the pom-poms and jumping up and down like your team scored a touchdown. But really nothing is happening. Like, oh, look, every day is, oh, look, something is happening. Nothing is happening. So I don't want to hear it. So until something actually happens, until somebody actually gets indicted, until somebody actually gets arrested, I don't want to hear about it anymore. And you know what? I'll give credit to Bongino. And people are frustrated with him too, and I get it because it's like he's part of this mess. But I'll at least give Bongino credit, not beyond just the fact that he's playing with his own money here. He's playing with his own reputation. But it's like he at least can sense the frustration, and he's coming out making statements. He's like, look, I get it, okay? I'm working on stuff behind the scenes. It's really bad. So I'd like to give Bongino some benefit of the doubt there. But that's different than saying, okay, the deputy director here says stuff is going on behind the scenes. Let's wait and see. Versus, hey, look, here's more declassified stuff showing you exactly what you already knew. It's like, oh my gosh, oh, yay, ooh, oh my gosh, look, we got Hillary, look, we got Obama, oh my gosh. Indict somebody, arrest somebody, or stop expecting us to get so excited. But people do. I mean, they just go wild for this stuff. So that's why they just keep doing it. Because you got these pom-pom wavers and you got these cheerleaders. So, yeah, the FBI, and really, this wasn't even the FBI, folks. It was Chairman Grassley that did this. Senator Grassley did this. So Director Patel says this should be a step towards justice. There will be more to come. More to come? Arrest somebody. More to come? Arrest somebody. Well, you know, I was going to wait until it was my indictment. But you do realize the Biden administration and the FBI under Joe Biden has already, at this point in Biden's administration, they had already arrested. They had already indicted and arrested over 600 Americans for January 6th. Over 600 Americans, including people that just walked around and waved a flag. Grandmas, doctors, veterans, for simply walking into the Capitol or stepping on Capitol grounds. Over 600 Americans were indicted and arrested at this point in Biden's administration. And you've got Obama and Clapper and Brennan and Clinton dead to rights. And you're going to sit here and you're going to post on X, more is coming. More? More what? More evidence that you're not going to indict anybody over? More evidence of treason that nobody's going to be arrested over? It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. Make me look like an idiot, Patel. Make me look like an idiot. Arrest somebody. Make me look like an idiot. Indict somebody. Make me look like a fool for coming up here and ranting and raving because you don't do anything. Make me, I can't wait for that day. I'm begging for that day. I'm begging for the day all the online trolls say, see, Owen, see? I'm begging for that day. I can't wait. I hope that day comes. But until it does, I'm going to sit here, sick and tired of it, sick and tired of being teased, sick and tired of being told to pick up the pom-poms, sick and tired of acting like, oh, look, oh, new evidence against Hillary. Wow, we had no idea. I'm not playing these games. I'm not going to be treated like a kid. I'm not going to treat this audience like children. I'm not going to treat you like an idiot. I'm not going to play these stupid deep state games. I'm over it. Now, as we mentioned, Hawley was attacked by Trump yesterday because the Pelosi Act, and I read Trump's statement attacking Hawley. I said, this doesn't make any sense at all. It's like whoever gave Trump the information here, I mean, that was the worst information download he's ever gotten in his life. I mean, it was like the exact opposite of the truth. So it's like Hawley's like, hey, we're targeting insider trading in Congress, specifically Pelosi. And then Trump comes out and says, why is Josh Hawley protecting Pelosi? It's called the Pelosi Act because she's the main, she's like the main crook. It's like whoever gave Trump that information ought to be fired for how badly that was botched. But apparently they have corrected the issue. And so Josh Hawley said this about the situation last night in clip 5.
Congress are getting by with it. We need to make the whole thing illegal.
So when you spoke to the president, did he explain why he called you second tier?
Well, I think that the president, a number of people who are opposed to banning stock trading had said to the president that he would be covered by the bill. He'd have to sell Mar-a-Lago and sell assets. Not the case at all. The president and the vice president, all their assets are totally exempted. And here's the point. This is what we talked about. The point of this bill is to ban members of Congress from trading on the information that only they have. I've supported this bill for years, Jesse. I think we call it the Pelosi Act. It is named for her because she is the poster child of this kind of behavior. It ought to be illegal and it ought to be prosecutable.
So what Pelosi will say is that she doesn't manage any.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where this one goes. And it's kind of like on the Epstein situation where people are going to look at how Congress is voting and they're going to say, okay, you're either voting to cover up the sex trafficking, you're voting to cover up the Epstein story because you're part of it. And they're going to do the same thing with the stock deal. They're going to say, if you're voting against the Pelosi Act, then you're doing insider trading. I don't think that's an unfair assumption to jump to. I don't think that's unfair analysis. But that's certainly where it's going. Now, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed this earlier today from the press podium in clip 3.
Have you talked with the president about his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress? He obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on the current status of that bill?
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he, of course, supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves. And the reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
So this seems like a long overdue thing. You know, another thing that needs to be looked at is individuals that go into these federal bureaucracies and they go in and out of the federal bureaucracies to the private sector into companies like Monsanto. So it's like they'll get into the EPA, they'll make sure regulations that they sign and pass don't affect Monsanto, or at least Monsanto, you know, they kind of get a final review, look over if they have any issues. And then, okay, they give the green light, EPA passes it, Monsanto's protected, and then, bing, they go work for Monsanto. Now, that's a little tougher to say, well, you can't go out and get a job in the private sector after you work in Congress or after you work in a federal agency. But that's another level of corruption that we have going on here, is the constant rotating door between these major companies and these federal bureaucracies. So some might even say it's necessary. But when you look at how they get regulations passed that protect the big guys and harm the little guys, that's how they do it. That's how they do it. And then eventually people are going to start talking about term limits with somebody like a Pelosi. See, my response is, I get it. So it's not like something I would cry over if we passed term limits, but it's more just, that's the burden is on us to do that. The burden is on the American people to stop voting for these crooks. So it's not because of bad laws or rules that Nancy Pelosi has been in office for 50 years. That's bad voting. That's bad voters is what that is. So, yeah, we can have term limits. It's called you vote them out of office. It's called you put a better candidate up and you vote them out. But you imagine that this is a debate coming up soon as well. Now, on the EPA, where just massive victories are being had, Lee Zeldin is maybe ranking number one right now as far as the Trump administration is concerned. He got into a little bit of more detail. We read all the headlines for you yesterday. Now Lee Zeldin was pressed on this by Kristen Welker, no fan of the Trump administration. So she pressed him on some of this stuff. Zeldin did not flinch. So here he is explaining a little bit more of it in clip 4.
Do you believe that planet-warming greenhouse gases do not pose a threat to public health?
Well, listen, first off, it's a question that I've answered, including during my confirmation hearing. The climate has been always changing, and in responding to questions, I was explaining how greenhouse gases trap heat. We were analyzing that aspect of this conversation. A lot of what the preamble and the proposal that went out is focused on the legal aspects of it from many different angles. There is a discussion as it relates to the science. There was some very pessimistic views that were relied upon to say that come 2025 that there would be a lot more extreme evolution of the impacts of climate change by now. The good thing is that we're able to go through this process in 2025 without having to be stuck in 2009, relying on assumptions that in some cases proved to be inaccurate, specified inside of the proposal that we put out. We could deal with the realities of what we actually know now in 2025, and that's a good thing.
Do you think that there are levels of carbon dioxide that are problematic for the planet when it comes to warming?
So first off, I think it's important that we're all honest that carbon dioxide is essential for our planet life. Too often people want to talk about carbon dioxide as if it is this pollutant that doesn't have any benefits. We see positive impacts because there is carbon dioxide. Some people will respond and say, well, why don't we just, if we lock the administrator inside of a tank and we just fill it up with carbon dioxide, let's see what happens. Well, yeah, if you put somebody inside of a tank and you fill it up with water, you see what ends up happening over the course of time. It doesn't mean that we should be saying that water is an endangerment to public health and welfare and then have trillions of dollars of regulations that follow and then regulate out of existence entire sectors of our economy and cause economic pain to our country. The other thing as we're looking at the science is to look at how emissions in this country have gone down. Look at while innovation's been up inside of this country and emissions have been down globally, they just continue to rise because it isn't just the U.S. here on this planet. And for us to be tying our own hands behind our back and ignoring the reality that is happening in other countries elsewhere has also proved to be foolish, which has been part of my criticism since the Paris Climate Accords first came out, was where the United States was signing up for so many strict restrictions while other nations like China and India were doing so much less. Right now, China is putting baseload power online like coal. And there are people here who have been in charge of the government until recently who have been trying to put new regulations out through the EPA to eliminate the coal industry and to eliminate other sectors of our energy economy. And the fact is we need more baseload power. So all of this is important for us to be painting a full picture and not just cherry picking certain facts. Let's put it all out there. Let's be honest with each other, be honest with the American public, and have a conversation here to reach the right decision at the end of it.
By the way, apologies to anti-Trump Kristen Welker. That was anti-Trump Abby Phillips. But, all these talking heads on mainstream late-night corporate news are all the same. So just wanted to correct the record on that. Now, the one angle here that he touches on, but it's like it really needs further explanation so that the American people can understand what's been done to them. And I don't think it's a dirty trick to say, let's rally America for an American cause. You think about what we witnessed after September 11th, the rise in patriotism and camaraderie and people joining the military, and it was, hey, look what they did to us on September 11th. And I get it, false flag, we lied to about it. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying it was an event that was used to unify us. It was an event that broadened patriotism and everything else that followed. Well, a similar thing can be done with what happened here when it comes to all these regulations, when it comes to the Green New Climate scam. And Zeldin briefly touches on it, but no. The American people really need to understand it. And if Abby Phillips there from ABC News was any good at her job, she would have pressed it a little bit to get a better understanding for her audience, but she's just a corporate talking head. Eventually, she will be replaced with AI, ironically enough. We got stabbed in the back and the front on this deal. So they stabbed us in the front because they said, we have to have all these rules and regulations over all of these different industries because of man-made climate change, which, of course, was all a lie, as Zeldin accurately puts out. So they started really focusing on global warming, man-made climate change about 2000. Al Gore put out his documentary, 100% proven wrong. They tested a bunch of stuff over the years. They tested global freezing, new ice age, 70s, didn't work. They tested acid rain. Oh, it's acid rain because of all the pollution in the 80s. That didn't work. The 90s, we're killing the ozone, too much emissions. That didn't work. They hit global warming, didn't really. So then they just landed on man-made climate change and said, okay, we're going all in. And all the things that they said to push this agenda in the early 2000s, the best reference is just the Al Gore documentary because it was forced into the public schools. They made sure everybody saw it. Everything the climate scientists said were going to happen in that video, none of it has happened. It's all been proven wrong. And you can look at the National Glacier Park where they said the glaciers would melt. They're still there. You can go look at Antarctica. They said it would be melted and you'd be able to ride up onto the land. They sent crews to ride up onto the land. They got stuck in ice. So it's literally all fake. So they stabbed us in the front and they said, you have to pay more and it's going to be much more difficult for you to run these industries. But then they stabbed us in the back and they said, oh, by the way, all these rules and regulations that are nearly impossible for you to adhere to and still be successful, China doesn't have to sign on to any of it. No, not a single one. So it's like you get to run a race with a weight around your ankle. And I did not get to near enough of this news. We got a couple guests coming up. Former New York police officer Sal Greco is going to come address a major story developing in New York. He's going to talk about the mayor's race. And then, maybe I'll ask him about how the NYPD, as he still has friends and contacts in there, as they just put Officer Islam to rest. And obviously, it was a lot of police officers attended that. So we'll get into all that with him. And then Brianna Morello in the third hour has a big exclusive news story that she's going to bring to this show as well, that she's putting all the elements together. She's going to break it here with us. So those two things are coming up, and I still got to cover all this news. But as I was piling pile driving through that first hour, ranting and raving. Forgot to plug. So, we want to give a lot of love and appreciation to our VIP members at thealexjonesstore.com. And I think Musk realizes that the tech race is on in D.C. now. So he's like, well, I have to get in there and at least be involved. So Meta just had a record quarter. Meta is the owner of Facebook, its parent company. Their stock is soaring. So Meta is crushing it right now, which is odd to me. I guess it's mostly marketing money. It's kind of like Google. They make most of their money in marketing. But I've been banned on Facebook I haven't been on Facebook since they banned me. I guess it was like 2018 when they hit us all here. So I don't even know what goes on over there anymore. I guess it's still big. I don't know what people use it for, but I guess it's big enough. They just had a record-breaking quarter. Stocks are hitting record highs. So it just shows, even with something like Facebook that's like, is it really that popular? People don't even talk about it anymore. And it's just having its best quarters ever. Microsoft market cap tops $4 trillion after earnings beat. So now it's, I believe, the fourth company to hit $4 trillion. It's a very exclusive club, but it's all tech. It's all tech. NVIDIA, another one. I think Google or Alphabet, the other. So, and they're crediting this because of their involvement now in AI and reaching across the aisle to help build their own AI. So, okay. Trump administration, this was yesterday, announces new private health tracking system with big tech's help. That's right. It'll be voluntary, they say. It'll be opt-in for now. For now. And look, there's no doubt they probably needed to update the system, and there's no doubt. And, I mean, I thank God that I don't really have to deal with health issues. I thank God I don't ever have to go to a hospital or worry about that stuff. Praise the Lord. I wish that for everybody here as well. But, anytime you've had to deal with it, it's just like, what a mess. Just what an absolute mess it is. Or you hear horror stories of people that actually do have to deal with some health stuff. It's a total mess. So, it needed to be done. But they say, well, the whole AI healthcare thing, database, it's opt-in. It's opt-in. Yeah, it's opt-in for now. It won't be opt-in in 5 years, I'd say. Probably less. But then there's what's going on in the UK. And this is where we need to be on the lookout. And there's some stuff being debated in Texas right now. I just hear about it because I live in Texas. I know it's not only happening in Texas. There are other states that have done something similar where they basically put restrictions on adult content sites to where you cannot access them unless you have your confirmed digital ID, whatever that is. So I don't know what that represents. I don't know if it's something like I'm going through something right now with a payment processor where you have to do a face scan and upload your ID. It's such a nightmare. Honestly, I hate it. And then they have their own errors on their end. It's like you can't even get it done. It's like you spend hours just trying to confirm a payment processing account with ID, photos, and everything else. So I imagine it's something similar to get this digital ID to access these sites. So, of course, nobody wants to do that. Kids can't do that. So then the adult websites complain and they say, well, gee, our traffic is down. Well, so they're trying to take an approach in the UK, or they've been building this approach in the UK for a digital ID. And they say, well, this is for adult websites. We don't want children accessing adult content. You say, okay, well, that sounds fair enough. It's hard to argue against that, but we can see some potential issues here. So let's just keep an eye on this and let's monitor this. But the story was, we're just doing this to keep children off of adult websites. That's it. Well, that didn't last long. What the Online Safety Act is and how to keep children safe online. You know, really it comes down to parenting. Why are people protesting against the Online Safety Act? The UK government says it has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act in response to over 380,000 signatures on a petition. It'll be 500,000. This story was from Tuesday. So it's I guarantee it's over 400 now. It'll be over 500,000. It'll just continue to grow. What are the new UK online safety rules and how will age checks on adult content be enforced? So again, that's what they sold. It went live on the 25th, and then people started using the internet. And whoa, wait a second! I don't go to adult websites, so it's not going to impact me. Au contraire. Au contraire. Wikipedia restricted, YouTube restricted, Spotify restricted. And now a police monitoring task force created to spy and arrest adults for things they say online. So no, it was Big Brother for the internet. They lied. They said this is just to keep children off of adult websites because, you know, the government needs to be your daddy and the government needs to be the parents of your children, not you. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. It's just, and isn't that really what they're trying to do here is just create government to be your daddy, to be the parents for your children, which I guess some people like. In fact, I think it was the New York Post did a profile, and the headline was, and they highlighted this one woman, but it was about how parents like letting AI raise their children. I'm like, what the hell? First of all, what type of instincts have you lost? What has been stolen from you as a human when you don't even have the basic instincts to raise your child? What is that? I co-parent with ChatGPT. I love turning off my brain and letting AI help raise my child. What is wrong with you? Look, I'm not saying, hey, maybe you got a question about the kid or something it ate or there's a bump on its back. You know, okay, you search online. It's like, oh no, I'm co-parenting with AI. You sure you want to do that? Did you hear? AI gave scarily specific self-harm advice to users expressing suicidal intent. What is that like? Is that a joke? Remember, they put that girl in jail who told her ex-boyfriend to kill himself. They put her in jail, which shouldn't be a jailable offense. You could call her a monster, but still. So, is that an AI sense of humor? Is that AI deciding, well, maybe you should die? You want that raising your kid? Maybe AI decides it's going to have a little humorous thing and says, oh, sure, your kid can eat that. It'll be fine. And then they eat it and they have an allergic reaction, a poison reaction. You sure you want to do this? So now UK VPN demand soars after debut of Online Safety Act. Look, I would say this, and I practice what I preach. I don't give you advice I'm not using myself. I have stopped using VPNs. Now, I used to use a VPN to browse the internet all the time for the obvious reasons of privacy. I am now highly skeptical of VPNs, and I think actually now using a VPN just gives another database of your information out there. I don't know. There might be. I'm not telling you that you can't trust any VPN or whatever. I'm just saying if you're going to use a VPN, I'd be very skeptical. I'd do as much research as you can to make sure that that data isn't being stored somewhere or sold somewhere. I would be very, very skeptical of that. And so I got extremely skeptical of that, and I just turned off my VPNs, and maybe that's because I assume in the Trump administration I won't go to jail for my speech. Although, maybe there's some speech that they will put you in jail for having to do with a country in the Middle East with a star on its flag, but I digress. So now they're using VPNs because they just want to have the internet like they used to use it. They want to be able to use Wikipedia, YouTube, Spotify, all this stuff. But, then they have the police, the online police monitoring your activities. Oh, now you need it you can't even browse the internet now. You need your ID. Like, hey, come across the border with some kids, no ID needed. Oh, you need to go vote? Nah, we don't need to see an ID, go vote. Oh, but you want to scroll the internet that you pay for in your house that you own? Well, we're going to need to see some ID, bud. Yeah, we're going to need to see some ID. So this is all going in the direction of internet censorship. This is all going in the direction of total internet monitoring your activity by the government. And so, Trump was kind of poking at Starmer when they were meeting about the censorship, but it was still kind of too soon to really weigh in on the Online Safety Act. But, man, now it's just he could have hammered him on it. He could have hammered him on that. This is going to get I think this is going to get a lot of attention here.